most folks know the story of the Good Samaritan, even if they have no religious background. We refer to someone as a Good Samaritan when they go out of their way to help a total stranger who's in great need. We even have Good Samaritan laws on the books to protect people who try to help others, even if things go wrong. Sometimes we'll read of Good Samaritans in the newspaper. Several years ago, an astonishing thing happened in New York City. A construction worker named Wesley Audrey was standing on a subway platform with his 2 young daughters, ages 4 and 6, waiting on a train, when suddenly another man on the platform, apparently suffering from a seizure, stumbled and fell from the platform down onto the subway tracks. Just at that moment, the headlights of a rapidly moving train appeared in the subway tunnel. Acting quickly and with no thought for himself, Wesley Audrey jumped down onto the track to rescue the stricken man by dragging him out of the way of the train. But he immediately realized that the train was coming too fast, and there wasn't time to pull the man to safety. So Wesley pressed the man into the space between the tracks and laid on top of him so that the train would pass over. The train cleared Wesley by mere inches, coming close enough to leave grease marks on his hat. When the train came to a stop, Wesley called up to the frightened onlookers on the platform, and from under the train they heard a voice saying, "There are 2 little girls up there. Let them know their daddy is okay." Now, in New York, he became known as the Subway Superman and the Harlem Hero, but the newspaper gave it even a more biblical title. The newspaper simply said, "Good Samaritan saves man on subway tracks." The story of the Good Samaritan that we just heard from the Gospel of Luke is rich in detail and just as alarming, or would have been to people of his day. First of all, the story is put in context. Jesus is on the road to Jerusalem where he will give his life for those he loves. When a lawyer, a learned man in the crowd, asks him a question, and it says in hopes of tricking him, he asks, "How can I have eternal life?" Jesus responds by saying, "You're a smart guy. You know the law. You tell me." And the man does. He goes to Jewish law and says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." "Right you are," says Jesus. But this lawyer takes it a step further by setting a trap for Jesus. He says, "Well, who is my neighbor?" In other words, just how far do I have to go? We know we take care of our own tribe, our own family, but how far do I have to go? And that is when Jesus tells this story. He said a man is going from Jerusalem to Jericho. This is known as a particularly dangerous road. He's attacked, robbed, beaten up, and left for dead on the side of the road. What happens next? As he lay there suffering, 3 people pass him on the road. First comes the priest. Surely the priest will help him. Priests are paid to help people. He knows the religious laws better than anyone, but the priest goes to the other side of the road and passes by. Now, next comes a Levite. Levites are from a tribe of Levi, and they're the ones that help the priests and assist them in worship, like Brooklyn did today. Another holy man. But he too crosses the road and passes by. And then last, and definitely least, comes a Samaritan. Samaritans were of mixed race and religion and were despised by the Jews. They were not worthy of any human respect. A Samaritan would be the last person a self-respecting Jew would want help from. But there he is, lifting the man up, binding his wounds, carrying him to an inn on his own animal, and paying an innkeeper to provide care for him. After telling this story, Jesus turned the lawyer the very question that the lawyer posed to him. He says, so who was the neighbor in this story? The lawyer can't quite choke out the word Samaritan, but that's the only answer to the question. He answers, the one who showed mercy. Go and do likewise is all Jesus has to say. Well, Wesley Audrey didn't hesitate that day. He went and did likewise. He risked his own life when he jumped onto the tracks that day. How many of us would have done that? And I think that's the hard question that this parable poses. Who are we, anyway, in this story? We have all been in more than one of these roles. Some of us have been holier than thou, so busy with our own importance that we walk right past the injured man. Maybe we have a meeting we're getting to, and maybe we're in charge of it and we need to get there. Or are we the injured man, in desperate need for help, but not wanting help from someone who's just a little beneath us? I can't tell you how many times I have heard people tell about going to an AA meeting and seeing some pretty down and out folks and saying, I'm not that bad off. I'm not really one of those. Sometimes the neighbor we are given to love is our own wounded self. Or are you the Samaritan? What prompts the Samaritan to act anyway? Some suspect it is because the Samaritan knows what it is to be despised and rejected and judged that allows him to feel compassion for the victim. We're told that his heart feels pity for the man. This is actually very good news for all of us who have been beaten up by life. Anybody here? We have the capacity, perhaps even heightened capacity, to help others. If you have experienced the brokenness of addiction, death, divorce, estrangement, poverty, hunger, abuse, illness, profound loneliness, any others, you will recognize it in others. You will find yourself, your own heart moved to compassion, yourself in a position to help. The broken will always be able to love harder than most. I once read a quote that was found on a plaque near City Hospital in Chicago and attributed to Louis Pasteur, the scientist. It simply says, one doesn't ask of one who suffers, what is your country and what is your religion? One merely says, you suffer. That is enough for me. You belong to me, and I shall help you. Jesus says, go